Once again, very pleasant good morning to everyone for joining us. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to learn how to do business with Newcastle County government. And we have a very good presenter that's going to teach you everything that you need to know in order to make that happen. Before we get started, I would like to teach. My name is John Banks, first of all. I'm a business consultant here at TruAccess Capital. I'd like to introduce one of my former colleagues at the U.S. Small Business Administration, which is one of our strategic partners, Jennifer Pilcher. The Small Business Administration is a federal agency that assists small businesses in obtaining access to capital. They provide free counseling through a number of network resource partners, and the Women Business Center here at TruAccess Capital is one of those organizations that provide that level of assistance. And then one of the third major things that the SBA does is they teach small businesses how to do business with the federal government. There are a variety of certification programs that you can engage in that will definitely help enhance your ability to secure federal contracting, including the 8A Business Development Program, the Women-Owned Small Business Program, the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business Program, as well as the HubZone program. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jennifer Pilcher, and she's going to talk to you a little bit more about the Small Business Administration, who they are, what they do, and as well as some upcoming webinars. Jennifer, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Jennifer Pilcher. I work here in Delaware for the U.S. Small Business Administration. I just want to give you an idea of how the SBA can help your small business start, if you haven't gotten there yet, grow and reach success, however you define that. As John mentioned, we do fund organizations that do one-on-one business counseling and trainings to help your small business in a variety of ways. You're obviously familiar with TruAccess Capital. That is where the Women's Business Center that SBA funds is housed. We also fund the Small Business Development Center through the University of Delaware, and SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives. That's an organization that has a group of volunteers in each state that helps small businesses start, grow, and succeed. We have financing for small businesses in the form of microloans through TruAccess Capital, and also in the form of loans through SBA certified traditional banks. If you want to talk more about financing, I will put my contact information in the chat and you can reach out. I'll connect you with our financing expert here in Delaware. I also want to flag you to our website, sba.gov/DE. That's where you'll find all of the sessions that we have at SBA and resources that we have at SBA. I want to flag you particularly to our calendar on that website. You'll see we have a number of webinars coming up, even just this month, talking about our different certification programs. We have an overview of all the certification programs that John talked about, a session on the Women-Owned Small Business Certification Program, and we have a session that I really think there's value in for small businesses. It's called Learning to Navigate the Federal Procurement Data System. It's how you find federal government contracting opportunities, how you find agencies that really do buy what you sell so that you can tailor a de facto marketing plan to reach out to them. All of that is happening at SBA just this month. So I want to encourage you, check out our calendar, sba.gov/DE. And I will again throw my contact information in the chat, and please feel free to reach out to me and I'll connect you with any SBA resources that can help.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you very much. With respect to the chat feature, as we proceed with the presentation, if you have any questions, make sure that you chime in through the chat and we'll unmute you and allow you to ask your question directly, or we will present it to the presenter and we'll make sure that each and every one of your questions are addressed. Next, I would like to introduce my partner in crime, Chris Woolman. He is the program manager for the New Markets Opportunity Program and he's going to introduce himself as well as introduce today's presenter, Chris. Good
Awesome.
morning.
Thanks so much, John, and good morning, everyone. Really excited to be leading up this new effort and this new markets program and bringing these webinars to really help small businesses learn how to do business with not only government, but also corporations. Whenever you have a situation where the government can support small business and helping build that ecosystem, and then you have small businesses who can also help contribute to and support their community by providing their goods and services. It's a great thing. So I really want to thank everyone for participating, and I want to introduce Newcastle County and Frank Penta to just give us some more information about how small businesses can do business with Newcastle County.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chris. Again, as mentioned, my name is Frank Penta. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer at Newcastle County Government. And we put together a presentation for everyone in the audience today. And first and foremost, John, if you could please enable the share screen feature.
Okay, let me see if I can get that started. Give me 1 second.
And as John is doing that, I'm going to give you our shameless plug, both at the beginning and at the end of this particular webinar. We do have an Open for Business event that's occurring at the Route 9 Library. It's going to be on October 30th. It's a solid half-day event. We are going to have individuals speaking on behalf of the State of Delaware's Office of Supplier Diversity, City of Wilmington Economic Development Office, Jennifer Pilcher, who you've just met today. She's going to be presenting on behalf of the Small Business Administration. Also, we're going to have, hopefully, we're going to have someone from Apex Accelerators, which is a free service provided to small businesses learning how to navigate the waters of bidding on government work. So again, just want to make mention of the fact that we have this particular Open for Business event at the Route 9 Library on October 30th. And
Right,
with that being said,
we
let's
have
see
access.
if everyone can see my screen. I'm assuming everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
So, and I believe John will be making this PowerPoint presentation available to everyone that's on the webinar today. Always like to start by sharing the information of our procurement team here at Newcastle County Government. There's myself, there's Robin Allen, and there's also Susan Smith. You can always give us a call at the phone number that's listed. One thing we like to talk about is Newcastle County Government is very dedicated in terms of trying to expand our vendor database, trying to give small and diverse businesses greater opportunities to bid and win work with Newcastle County. We've tried to increase our communication with businesses, trying to get them a better understanding as to how you can do business with Newcastle County. If you were to go onto our website, and actually I'm going to make this a bit interactive in a moment, I'm taking you to our website. We did put together a video that's available on the website, both in English and in Spanish, in terms of getting a better understanding as to how to do business, how to register yourself as a vendor with the county, and also how to navigate our website. So again, when you get the deck, the links should be interactive. You should be able to get to these to the site and be able to view the video. With that, just a brief introduction of Christopher Bell. He goes by CJ. CJ, if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Good morning. Thank you, Frank. My name is CJ Bell, Director of Economic Development for Newcastle County. Just want to thank you all again for taking your time out, as John mentioned. You didn't have to do this on a Tuesday morning, so thank you for that. I am going to drop a shameless plug for myself. We have a thing called the Grow NCC Fund. So if you're looking to scale your business and you're within Newcastle County limits, I'm going to drop a link in the chat where the loans average between $250,000 to $1 million. So as long as your business has been in operation for at least 2 years and you're not looking to do a real estate investment or development project, you are eligible. So I'm happy to talk to you more about it. But in the meantime, we're going to get into this interactive presentation. Thank you.
And as mentioned, being that this presentation will be sent to you all, you do have CJ's contact information listed here, both his email address and as well as his phone number. Okay, first and foremost, you're all looking to see how to do business with New Castle County. Clearly, that's going to begin with, how do you find out about bid opportunities? On our website, we do have an area within the website that shows all open bids that are currently out there that are available. So if this works the way I expect it to, I'm hopeful that everyone can still see my screen. I've just clicked
Yes, we can.
onto that link. Thank you very much. Click onto the link, and if you click onto that, you will see all of the open bids that are currently out there with New Castle County. As you see, we got quite a busy slate going on in the month of October. We do break up our website into different areas. We do have one area for construction contracts, and this is through our Department of Public Works. We have, as you see here, about 7 different bids that are currently open that fall under the goods and services designation. And we do break it up, separating our professional services, those RFPs. Just so you're aware, if you go onto our website and you see an opportunity that may be within your wheelhouse, so to speak, what you can now do is, once you go to the website, you can click on the hyperlink. I want to pick one that might be, I'm going to pick one that I consider to be pretty straightforward. We have a bid opportunity for supplying New Castle County with electrical supplies. If you click on that, you'll see it's going to take you specifically to that bid. You'll notice there's a bid title, category, status showing it's open, but then most importantly, it will show you the closing date and time, which means we will be accepting bids up through October 25th at 2 p.m. Hoping everyone can see that. Also, to understand what we are specifically looking for, again, there's another hyperlink that will take you to the RFP that will give you all the detailed information. Most importantly, it's going to let you know that here is the date that we need to receive the bids by. If you have any questions regarding it, we list the individual that you would contact regarding those questions. Robin Allen, in this case, is the individual that is administering this bid for New Castle. We put a date as to how long we will be accepting questions on this bid for. And as you go through it, again, not to take too much time with this, but our RFP, very straightforward. The scope, the intention of this bid is to provide discounted pricing for electrical supplies as specified herein. At this point, you'd be able to read through the RFP. We'll have a pricing page and an area where you would fill out and you would return that to New Castle County. So very straightforward in terms of how we put out our RFPs and how we list things. So now, if you want to sign up to receive automatic notifications regarding any bid that we put out, you have a hyperlink here that all you would do is you would click on this. Again, this brings you straight to our site. There is a specific area to sign up for notifications. It's as easy as entering your email address, entering your company's information, and this is where you sign up. You sign up this way, every single bid opportunity that comes out through New Castle County, you will be made aware of. I mentioned the fact that typically in a given year, we have approximately 70 to 75 bids, give or take some depending on the year, that will come out on an annual basis. So I like to tell people, if you sign up this way, you'll be made aware of every bid opportunity. Some are not necessarily going to be pertinent to your company, but at the same time, getting 70 to 75 emails to get that 1 or 2 bid opportunities that are right exactly what your company does, I think is a worthwhile thing. this is probably the easiest way to find out about opportunities with Newcastle County.
Frank, before you move on, we have a variety of businesses that registered for today's session in different categories. And from your perspective, can you give the audience an idea of the various types of procurements that Newcastle County puts out for bid on an annual basis in general?
We're going to be discussing that in a bit of detail on this presentation, but just in summary, as mentioned, we have about 70 to 75 bid opportunities in any given calendar year that will come out. And when we talk about vendor registration later, there are going to be even greater opportunities to get involved in providing goods and services to Newcastle County by being a registered vendor. With that said, we do categorize our bids in 3 ways. We have, well, actually, excuse me, 4 ways. We have our goods and services, which are our goods bids, which are very straightforward. As mentioned, electrical supplies, office supplies, and there is a way to sign up as a registered vendor to specifically get those targeted notices. We have non-professional bids. Something that would fall into that category are providing a janitorial services type bid or type contract. And we just went through that process this year. Great turnout for that. We had about 25 vendors looking to provide janitorial services to the county. We also have professional services, engineering services, accounting services, architectural services, things of that nature. And then lastly, we do have our contract construction bids. Those all come through our Department of Public Works. And in summary, that's how we categorize our bids.
Thanks again, Frank. And if there are any questions from the audience, please remember to use the chat feature and we'll make sure that your question is addressed.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is Memphis Viveros, a financial consultant with Creators of Value, a Delaware company. At the GSE, Government Services Administration, there are some sales that we have to be in the company. For example, 25,000 of sales in 2 years and 2 years of registered. There are these also in Newcastle. Thank you.
So just to make sure I understand the question, are we talking about how you're characterized as a vendor in terms of whether you're considered a small business, diverse business?
No, if I want to sell to the GSA, they have some requisites that I have a sales minimum of 25,000 in 2 years and 2 years of registered the company. In the Newcastle County is the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I understand the question, because the difference between trying to win work with the federal government versus other jurisdictions versus Newcastle County. We do not necessarily have a minimum requirement per se in terms of what your sales need to be for us to consider your bid proposal. And that kind of will speak to something I want to get into in a bit regarding telling us about yourself, telling us about your capabilities. It's very important that when you're submitting a bid, we need to understand what your business is capable of, whether it's a good or a services bid. We'll always look to have a vendor provide references so we can verify that you can provide those goods and services. But we do not have a numeric minimum requirement for us to do business with you. I think that does answer your question.
Thank you very much.
No, you're very welcome. Now, speaking of the targeted notices, this takes me to one of my favorite spots, because now we talk about registering as a vendor with Newcastle County. I see one question I'll get to you in a moment. Regarding our vendor self-service portal, when you go into the vendor self-service module, this will allow you to register as a vendor with Newcastle County. When you do register, what we ask of you is you'll be given, there's one page that it will list the various commodities that your company provides. Very straightforward. It's basically, it's a character search to come up with the right commodities that you would be able to provide to Newcastle County. If you want to receive targeted notices, you would be sure to fill that out so that when we send out a bid, say the electrical supplies bid, if you've aligned yourself with that particular commodity, we would also automatically send you an email. So you could receive automatic emails by just signing up for the notifications, but also you would receive emails by registering as a vendor with Newcastle County. And also when departments are looking to get quotes or proposals that fall under our bid threshold, they look to our registered vendors first. If you're aligned with those commodities, they could be reaching out to you directly to have you provide those goods and services. So very important to mention. So just see a thumbs up. I thought there was a question out there. Any questions before I move on? Okay. Again, I started mentioning the vendor self-service portal. Again, when you get the presentation, I would advise anyone in the audience here to go onto our website, register as a vendor, align yourself with those particular goods and services that you can provide so that you could receive outreaches independent of us putting out a particular bid. And we are going to talk about our bid thresholds in a moment. Just to take everyone through our bid process. When we put a bid out, we will advertise it. As mentioned, registered vendors will be emailed of the notification. We do always publicly announce our bids in the news journal. Our procurement code dictates that we have an advertisement for 2 consecutive weeks to ensure that there's a public notice of anything that we're looking to solicit from the public. On our RFPs, as I briefly showed you, we have all of the instructions in the RFP as to how to respond, when to ask questions, who to ask the questions of. We will always list what date the bid is opening. We go through an evaluation process. And one thing that's very critical to understand, I always like to point this out. If you submit a proposal, we advise all that submitted proposals who was awarded, and also we notify you of not being awarded. However, what's very important for any business, and especially small businesses, is that we have a transparent process. You can follow up afterwards to get a better understanding as to why you were not awarded that bid. There could be occasions where it was a cost, basically it was a cost-only bid. You were not the lowest price. We can let you know how competitive your bid was from a cost perspective. There are times that we have bids that are evaluated bids. With that being said, this is where, kind of going back to the question that was asked earlier, we may have found that your particular business didn't necessarily have the capability to provide us those goods and services as we might need them. Any of this feedback is so very important because it not only allows you to understand where you may have fallen short, but it also allows you to understand where you need to be the next time that opportunity comes available. And also regarding that, and people don't really take advantage of this as much as they should. All of our bids are publicly opened. You will see that on any of our RFPs, we list 87 Reeds Way is the Newcastle County Government Center. We open every bid publicly. If you come to a bid meeting, you will understand at that moment who you are bidding against. You would get to understand who your competition is. Now, we can always provide that to you in terms of your feedback session if you're not awarded. But I think it's so important to understand who you're competing against and where you might need to make alterations to your next proposal so you can win that work with Newcastle County. And also understand, this also puts you in better position when you're bidding on other government work to be in a better position to win that contract. So we like to say the feedback you may get from us, because again, most government agencies will evaluate in the same fashion. It gives you a better understanding as to how you need to alter or structure a proposal to put yourself in a position to win other government work. So you may not win work with us directly, but you might win with us indirectly, as we'll talk about in a moment. Any questions, by the way?
Frank, this is just a question that I think may come up. I know people can get feedback afterwards. Can they get feedback before they submit? I just wanted to make that distinction.
Yes, and that is an important distinction because it's important to understand we cannot provide feedback in the bidding process. But that's also why it's very important to take advantage of the question and answer session as listed on any RFP. If you have clarifications that you need to ensure that you are putting forward the best proposal possible, you know, that is something that people don't take advantage of. And that's why, CJ, I'm actually glad you asked that question, because if you're not sure about how to submit a bid, we will help you in terms of what we are required to receive to make sure we can fully consider your bid. There are many times we need to reject a bid because not every question is answered and not all the information is given. Many times vendors, if they would have reached out initially, they would have put themselves in a better position to win that work. But during the evaluation process and during the bid process, we have to be very careful in terms of the feedback we can give is in terms of how you may need to structure a proposal, but not in terms of what you need to put in your proposal to win that particular job. Make sense?
Just another follow-on question. I noticed that when you went to your website, you saw a number of construction-related procurements. What is Newcastle County's bid performance payment bond requirements with respect to construction requirements?
The payment bond is different depending on the value of the contract, because we have thresholds of anything that's we consider to be over $500,000 or between $50,000 and $500,000. So that would be a better question to pose to our public works team. And if you reach out to us after this particular session, I'd be more than happy to give you the contact information for our public works team to give you a more definitive answer on that. And also, by the way, again, second shameless plug, if you come on October 30th, members of our public works team will be there to answer questions regarding contract construction procurement. Any other questions? This kind of leads to some of the things we were already discussing about being a responsible bidder. It's very important to provide us your qualifications, your experience, the ability to provide the goods and services that we're looking for, your capacity, familiarity with public work, your location, and if you've had any prior experience in doing business with Newcastle County. And one thing to make mention of, which is something that we talk about, how we're trying to increase our vendor base and increase our supplier diversity. When we have bids that we are evaluating, we have different point scores that go to different categories within that bid. If you've never done work with Newcastle County, we actually give you preference because we are trying to find new and different vendors to do business with, again, so that we can broaden our vendor base. So when we talk about understanding if you've had prior experience with doing business with Newcastle County, people say, oh, well, you know, that you're doing that because you want to keep doing business with the same vendor. It's actually the reverse. We give preference. Location is just as important because we want to do business with vendors in the state of Delaware. We much prefer, I mean, Newcastle County, of course, is our real goal. But at the same time, vendors that are within the state of Delaware providing, you know, additions to the economy in that respect is very important to Newcastle County as well. So the location and your prior work experience, in a sense, can definitely give you a leg up on your competition. And actually going back, CJ, to your earlier question, this is where if you're not sure about what you need to put in your proposal, reach out to the purchasing personnel that is handling the particular bid that you're responding to. We will assist you in making sure you understand exactly what we need. So in summary, how to do business with Newcastle County. Go to our website, register as a vendor. This way, sign up for the electronic notifications when bids are coming out. You need to be ready to tell us who you are when you submit a proposal. Be sure to ask questions before you submit your proposal. Of course, ask those questions during the appropriate time period. Follow up afterwards and take advantage of all of our resources. As stated, we want you to do business with Newcastle County. I want to thank you all for being in attendance today. And now I would open up the session to any questions that you may have.
CJ, you referenced in the chat feature a little bit earlier some information about an upcoming event. Now will be a good opportunity to promote that event, Ken.
Yep. So if you look in the chat, scroll up a little bit, you'll see a link that has Constant Contact in the name of it. That is the October 30th event that Frank was referencing. This is where we've done a pretty aggressive effort in making sure that we have a valid database of minority businesses, but also as well as expanding that effort. So we are looking to hire a program coordinator for our small business, for increasing our small business enterprise, but also just for us to do better with making sure minority businesses have a chance to bid, win several different contracts throughout the county. So I'm happy to answer any questions, or if people are like, hey, I'm a register, but I'm not sure if I can attend. Can somebody follow up with me? I'm happy to do that as well.
Real quick, either Frank or CJ, sometimes when you have small businesses that are, whether for the first time or just trying to get their rhythm in regards to applying for, responding to RFPs, et cetera. Do you guys have any word of advice as far as, for those individuals who might feel like it's not for them or feel like it's too far of a reach and have never really explored the space before? Do you guys have anything you could add to speak to that population?
Yeah. I'll answer from somebody who is like kind of not on that side. And then I'll let Frank lend his expertise. I would say, I tell people all the time, just sign up for the bids, because that way you can at least get a chance to look and see what is actually out there, what each government is different in terms of what they're hiring services for. So I would definitely say sign up just so you can see the bids that come out. Because Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're in a chronological order, so you can kind of see when bids are coming up and then when they're also expiring and when we have to renew it. And then if you have a question, like my office, economic development office, is essentially supposed to be a liaison. So for the developers trying to get in touch with land use, for small businesses trying to get in touch with procurement, the Office of Economic Development is supposed to be that liaison to help, garner that relationship or a warm handoff. So if you're ever in doubt or hesitant, I understand the feeling. I have a nonprofit, and looking at foundations and applying to the grant sometimes can be a little intimidating, but I would always say just reach out. Closed mouths don't get fed. That's the saying that I was raised on, and I think a lot of people understand that wholeheartedly. So, if you wanna grow your business, you got to reach out. Sometimes it just takes that.
CJ, I'm assuming your contact information was included on the PowerPoint slide, but if you don't mind just including again in the chat feature, your email and telephone number, in the event that the audience members need to reach out to you.
Will do.
And I will say the one thing I have to add to that is I understand a lot of times people say to themselves, oh, doing business with government, it's got to be so difficult to do. There's 3 points to that. Number one, you don't know until you try. Okay. Number two, this is why we talk about the resources that are available to you, either through SBA with Jennifer, with Apex Accelerators, which is an organization in Delaware that provides free training and advice as to how to do business with governments. And C, that's why we talk about this all the time. We can't drive this point home, more than this. Questions are so very important to get answered, and we are more than happy to answer them for you. Because again, it does not necessarily help you maybe in terms of getting the proposal you're trying to get with Newcastle County, but those questions and that feedback can help you forget about even government space. Understanding who your competition is, understanding what the pricing that's out there, it's going to help you get that business privately as well, because you're competing against. If you bet $1 on something and somebody came in at 90 cents, okay, you're 10 cents off. How do you make up that difference? So getting all that feedback is only going to help you become more successful, even if it's not in the government space, if it's in the private space. So.
I think I have a question for the audience. Are there any opportunities offered by Newcastle County government that are not physically submitted for public bid? And if so, how would a small business engage in those opportunities?
Well, our thresholds are, when it comes to any type of commodity that we purchase, if we buy more than $25,000 worth of that particular commodity currently, we put it out for public bid. If we're buying less than $25,000, those are the opportunities that our departments will go through our registered vendor list, find the qualified vendors to reach out to get quotes from. That's why I always talk about, it's one thing to sign up for the notifications, but it's just as important to register as a vendor so you can align yourself with those goods and services, so that when those opportunities present themselves to the department, they have the vendor database to go to. And as CJ mentioned, that's where his office and hiring that program coordinator is going to be so very important going forward, so that we can have the appropriate list of vendors to satisfy the needs of the departments to get quotes and proposals from.
Very good. Are there any other questions from the audience? Going once, going twice.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
I'm new to this arena with the bids. I've been on the other side of it, working with the state previously. So I'm a new entrepreneur in the last 2 years. So who would you say will be the first point of contact for me to get into this process of bidding? I am in Kent County. So what steps would you say I need to take to start this process with bidding? Would I need to contact CJ for guidance, or would it be Miss Jennifer? Who would be a first point of contact to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, I don't, Natasha, it's Natasha, correct? I want to make sure. All right. I don't mind you reaching out to me. I would say the first step in the process is to just get yourself registered as a vendor. Like, that's pretty much the clearinghouse, right? So just look at it where, if I am a business or I'm a department, and let's say I'm looking at under 25K, I'm going to first go to the list, just because, one, that avoids the headache of, I might know this mom and pop shop, but they're not registered. I don't have their W-9, so I couldn't even get finance to send them the invoice or pay the invoice without being registered anyway. So the first step is to register as a vendor, and then from there, there will be different things. It depends on what your service is. So if you're in legal, I don't know, I'm just making this up, so don't quote me on it, but they might need, they might need paper, like, who knows, printer paper, or they might need a printer, and it's under 25, and they're looking to increase their small business or minority business efforts, and they'll just look at the list and just say, okay, you can kind of do a quick search, and they'll hire that business. But if they're not registered, now you're going off of, your network is your net worth, and that department might not know you or might not have a mutual connection. So I would say the best way to get started and to kind of streamline your process is to get registered as a vendor and make sure you are what's the word I'm looking for, Frank? It's the certification under the Office of Supplier Diversity.
Biodiversity, yes, depending on how large your business is and the type of business that you have, you can become certified as a certified small business, a certified diverse business. And again, but that will also go back to, there are certain qualifications that you need to have. But again, the Office of Supplier Diversity within the state of Delaware would be your first point of contact. And if you need that, by the way, they'll be there on October 30th also. But if you need that information, you could always email me. I can forward you their contact information.
Thank you so much.
And two things. So one, to piggyback on that, with our new markets program, that's actually a big part of what we're looking to do, is to help small business get access to the information that you just mentioned. I wanted to hop over to the chat real quick. We had a question come in. It says, would it be beneficial for small business to reach out and ask about those opportunities under 25K once they are registered as vendors? If so, who would be the point of contact for those opportunities? And
I responded back, as a matter of fact, because, and I'm more than happy to do this. And when we go to the Newcastle County Chamber events, usually on a quarterly basis, how to do business, that's more of a meet and greet for small and new businesses trying to understand opportunities in government. And reach out to me. You'll have my information. Say, hey, I just registered as a vendor, which will be great because I'll be able to look you up in our vendor database. I'll be able to take that information, forward it over to the appropriate department head. So this way, and like anything else, right? Always good to get in front of the person so that they know you exist versus having them go into our database and find you. So, I'm more than happy to do that. And I do that all the time.
awesome. Thank you so much.
How long does the county take to make payments on goods or services received? Frank, is that a contract by contract kind of answer?
I would say the answer is typically we are net 30. All of our standard goods and services that we get quotes on is net 30. Now, to your point, if you're submitting for a bid and you receive it, if we have to go through a contract negotiation, payment terms will be part of the contract arrangement.
This next question is, do they ever use credit cards for payments?
You mean for us to pay vendors?
Correct.
The answer would be no. We do a standard check or we do electronic payment. Matter of fact, and we prefer vendors when they sign up as a registered vendor. At that time is when you could provide Newcastle County with your banking information, so that if you do win a project or we do purchase from your organization, we can pay you electronically versus cutting a check, which means you're getting your money faster.
Are there any more questions?
What does days to discount mean?
Meaning like a 1% 10 net 30. So if you want to provide a quick pay discount to Newcastle County, you can put that as part of your payment terms. So if you want to offer us a 1% discount or 2% discount to get your money faster, you can easily do that by putting that as part of your payment terms. And we, if possible, we will definitely try to take advantage of that.
And the discount percentage?
Again, that's going to be based on what your company wants to offer for a quick pay discount. So that's really incumbent upon the vendor to state to us what your days to discount would be.
Last call. Any more questions? Please type it in the chat, raise your hand, unmute yourself and ask it directly. Renee, do you mind unmuting yourself and asking the question directly? You have Days to Net. I'm not sure. I understand
I'm
what that means.
sorry. Hi, I have a cold, so I was trying to just text it. I'm filling out the application online and it's saying payment terms, discount percentage, days to discount, and days to net.
So you want to
So-
put your days to net should be your net payment term. So like I say, standard is net 30. So we would expect most vendors put in that your days to net is going to be 30. Again, that discount percentage, that's based on you as a business making a business decision as to whether or not you want to offer New Castle County a discount to get paid quicker. So like I said, a 1% 10 net 30 would mean you're offering us a 1% discount to get paid within 10 days of receiving your invoice. But your net 30 means if we're not taking advantage of the discount, we need to pay you within 30 days of the invoice.
Okay, so days to discount would be the 10 days, and then the days to net would be 30.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, clarification on that.
So Memphis, to answer your question, I would say this. Yes, we would definitely consider your experience outside of the United States. As mentioned, we would always look to have references provided, so we would be able to validate the experience that you have. And again, that has nothing to do with within the country or out of the country. As mentioned, especially with a new vendor, we are going to make it a point to validate your experience and reach out to your references. Doesn't matter if they're in, Newark, Delaware, or anywhere across the world.
Thank you very much.
Any final questions? Going once, going twice.
Is
Yeah, I
this
just wanna thank-
available? Is this deck available? Are you guys going to email us a deck when you're done, when this thing is over?
We're going to not only email you a copy of the PowerPoint slide presentation, so you can have that and have access to all the links that Frank demonstrated, but we're also going to share a copy of this recording in the event that you want to hear a certain section over again. So you'll get that information. You'll get an email directly from me. And my name is John Banks, and it will include all of that information. And while I
Okay,
have
thank you.
everyone on board, just wanted to let you know that we try to do this every single month, the second Tuesday of every month, beginning at 10. And next month, we have Delaware State University on board, and they want to, again, provide information on how to do business with DSU, the types of procurement that they purchase, best practices for you as a small business vendor to get involved in their procurement process, along with a forecast of opportunities, very similar to what you experienced today. We really want to help to make sure that you understand that there are more organizations out there reaching out to small businesses, making their opportunities available. So we hope that you partner with us. Again, you'll receive a flyer or some advanced notification of the upcoming webinars that we're featuring. We hope that you take time out to participate. Any final questions before we hang up? Alrighty, I just want to thank everyone again for taking time out of your busy morning, and we hope that you found this information informative, and we hope to see you again on our future webinars. Thanks again for joining us, and have a terrific day, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
Thank
one.
you, guys.
You have a good one.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.